If you're a seller getting ready to navigate the home inspection process, I'm here to make sure you're prepared, you're calm, and you're ready to handle those negotiations like a pro. Today we're going to walk through how the inspection process has changed and top seller tips for real estate inspection negotiations, and we're going to get started. Hello and welcome back to All Things Tennessee with me, Ben Barreto, your local real estate pro and relocation expert for East Tennessee. If you haven't noticed yet, the market has changed a lot. Yes, it's still a seller's market. However, it's no longer the extreme seller's market of 2021, 22, and 23. A few years ago, sellers had the upper hand. Buyers were lining up to make offers, and sellers could refuse to make repairs with barely a second thought. If a buyer didn't like it, there was a line of backup offers the seller could fall back on, and in many cases, buyers were giving away their rights to a home inspection just to get a house under contract. But the market's shifted a bit. Now buyers have room to negotiate, and as a seller, you might find yourself needing to be a bit more flexible when it comes to repairs. You probably won't have a stack of backup offers after just a few hours on the market. More than likely, you've been on the market for a couple of weeks or more and only have one offer in hand. So what does this mean? Well, you've lost some of that as-is leverage, but that's okay. Being prepared to negotiate can help you keep the deal on track and avoid losing a buyer over a few repairs and still save money. Now, let's talk about how to avoid getting blindsided by an inspection report. And one great option to do that is to get a pre-listing inspection. This is when you, as the seller, hire your own general home inspector to give you and your home a once-over before it even hits the market. You'll get a detailed report showing you what needs attention. You can then tackle major repairs up front, making the inspection a lot less scary for buyers. You're going to want to focus on key areas in the report and in these repairs. Starting off with plumbing, make sure to fix any active leaks, tighten any loose toilets, fix leaky shower heads, make sure the dishwasher runs properly if one is included in the house, and overall make sure all plumbing is in working order and works properly. Get your HVAC system serviced by a licensed and reputable HVAC company, and while they're there, have them clean those air ducts out. Change the air filters in the house too. Make sure all the electrical outlets and light switches work. Ensure that each room has a GFCI outlet, or at a minimum make sure that the kitchen has one. And then make sure the main electrical panel is clean, the wires are neat, it's easily accessible and clearly labeled. Then you want to turn your attention to the crawl space. In Tennessee, crawl spaces are the bane of a home inspection. With all the humidity most of the year, crawl spaces tend to capture moisture, which breeds mold and mildew. So make sure your crawl space is clean and dry with no standing water. Clean up any mold and mildew. Make sure it's accessible for the home inspector to access. You don't want a buyer thinking you're hiding something from them and the home inspector won't move things just to get under the house. You're also going to be wanting to look at your septic tank. If you buy a house in Tennessee and it's a rural house, you're very likely to buy a house with a septic system. More than likely, if you're a seller in Tennessee and you live out in the country, you have a septic system. You want to make sure that this is pumped and serviced before the buyers get your house under contract, because more than likely they're going to request it or get it done themselves, and it saves a lot of hassle and it looks good on your part. After you've tackled these repairs, collect all your invoices, your reports, any warranties you have, any service agreements you have. Put these documents together and be ready to hand them over to a buyer. This shows you've taken care of things and it builds their confidence in your home. Before we get to inspection negotiation tips, make sure to check out last week's video where I talk about the home inspection and how buyers can approach this. You can check that out by clicking here or following a link in the description. Additionally, if you're thinking of making a move in real estate, whether it's buying, selling, or investing, no matter where you are in the country, I can help you out. Just give me a shout. My contact information is usually right here, and then you can find it down in the description. And while you're here, make sure to like and subscribe. It's free, it's easy, it really helps me out. So once that buyer's inspection report comes in, you might get a list of repair requests from the buyer. First, let me say this is all negotiable, but remember, you don't have a line around the block of motivated buyers that will buy the house as is, so you need to be ready to come to the table with something. So when you get that repair proposal, how do you handle it? Well, you've got options, which I'm going to share with you right now. Now the first option, which most sellers would love to do, is just stand your ground and try to sell the home as is. You tell the buyer you're not going to do any repairs and they can take care of it themselves, and they can take the house or they can leave it. Obviously this could scare buyers, especially if the repairs are major, and most especially if the buyers have no repair experience, no access to extra cash to get the repairs done later. And if they're first-time home buyers, they're probably already terrified of the entire process. Everything in an inspection report can terrify an inexperienced first-time home buyer. Still, if the repairs needed are minor, a motivated buyer still might move forward. Attempt this at your own risk though. Don't blame me if it doesn't work out and you're forced to go back to market and have to disclose a lot of these issues to the next buyer, or just not sell at all. The next option is for you to agree to make some or all of the repairs. You can fix certain issues before closing, make sure to hire a licensed contractor or an experienced handyman depending on what you and the buyers agree to, and then provide that buyer with all the documentation showing that the work was done. Typically repairs need to be done within a certain time frame or within 2 to 3 weeks after the agreement from both parties, and again this is also dependent on whenever the closing date is. If you don't want to do repairs but still want to make this work, you can instead do one of the following. You can lower the price, or you can cover closing costs. If you don't want to deal with repairs, you can offer a price reduction, or you can agree to pay the closing costs for the buyer, and this will give the buyer some flexibility, if you cover the closing costs, to handle the repairs themselves after closing using the money they saved on the closing costs. Another option is to escrow the repair money. You can set aside funds in escrow to cover repairs after closing. For this, you'll need to give the title company or attorney details on the repairs, what needs to be done, who will do them, and when they'll be finished. You'll also need to set conditions on how the money will be released. If, for example, repairs aren't completed on time, then the money could go to the buyer. If they're done and the contractor gets paid, any leftover funds can go back to you. Talk to your specific title company on how they suggest you handle this, since every state will likely have their own rules and regulations around how escrow money is handled. And some states may not allow you to do this at all. And finally, your last option is to do a combination of options 2 to 4. Maybe you agree to do some repairs, lower the price a little bit, maybe pay some closing costs, maybe escrow a little bit of money. It's really up to you. You have flexibility to mix and match these options and find the best solutions that both you and the buyers will agree to. At the end of the day, you just need to come to terms with the buyers so that both parties are in agreement, they're happy, and they're ready to move forward. Or if they're not happy, at least satisfied enough to move forward again with the sale. Obviously, no one's going to be extremely happy with any of this in this situation. The inspection period is the most stressful part of buying a house. Alright, so before we wrap up, here are a few final tips to keep in mind. Always make sure whatever you agree to with the buyers is in writing. In Tennessee, we use repair proposals and repair amendments to lay everything out. First, the buyer submits a repair proposal, then you can negotiate with a counter proposal, and once everyone agrees, both parties sign a repair amendment that lists what exactly is to be done. And here's a pro tip. Never write money credited in lieu of repairs in a repair amendment. This can be a big red flag for a lender's underwriter. They'll want to know what repairs aren't being done, and if it's a major issue, it could derail the entire process. And usually the reason sellers offer money is to move things along quickly and avoid doing repairs while they're still in the house. But writing in lieu of repairs will actually slow things down and could even force the seller to get the repairs done just to get to the closing table. As you can see, the key to success is making sure the inspection process goes smoothly so you can keep the deal moving and to get to the closing table. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this helps you feel more prepared for the home inspection process. Remember, being proactive and open to negotiations will keep things running smoothly. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more real estate tips. Until next time, I'm Ben Barreto with Wallace Real Estate, and we'll catch you in the next video.